computer. We get that lovely sound. So often I find when I first come onto Insight Timer, it takes a little while for everything to settle. So as we arrive here together, let me know where you are. If you've met me before here and joined me before for any of these essential oil lives, or perhaps a relaxation, or perhaps you've met me in some other way, let me know where you are. And we're going to have a really lovely time together. And we're going to be exploring coriander seed. But even if you don't have it as an oil, stay, because you're going to learn so much about it. And I'm going to show you a practice that you can use. And I'll show you a way that you can do it without the actual oil. Hey Chandra, nice to see you. How are you doing? Lovely to have you back. Cambridge, Massachusetts. So you're in the morning time. Here it is 1 o'clock, it's lunchtime. I'm down in the south coast of the UK and we have warm weather coming, which is amazing. So let's get into it. Take a little breath. Lalita from Portland, Oregon. Hey, welcome, welcome. Cassie, hi from Missouri. I'm going to tell you what we're going to do together. I'm going to give you a little overview and then we'll go into a practice together. And I'm going to share some energetic and emotional support aspects of coriander seed. And I'm going to give you a little bit of the history as well. And I'm going to turn my phone off and I'm going to talk about how you can make sure it's properly diluted, because often when I come on here and I share about properly diluted essential oils, people often have questions. So I'm going to just give you a really simple way on knowing how to do that. So how are you all? What is going on? I'm so happy to join you here on Insight Timer. It is one of my favorite things to do. And this week I've actually got, I think, 3 or 4 lives that I'm doing. So check out the other ones. We're working with the inner child and Roman chamomile tomorrow. I'm doing my soul messages where I do channeled messages and oracle card pulls for whoever's there. And then I think I'm going to show you how to meditate with oils. I think that's on Thursday. So check them out and see if you can join me on them if you like this sort of experience. So we're going to learn today all about coriander seed. So not cilantro, which is the leaf. We're actually learning about the seed and its history and energetic essence. We're going to give a little bit of, I'm going to give you a practice you can do, an aroma point therapy practice that you can do. So you have this sensory experience of it. I'm going to share how it supports the emotional and mental aspects of our being. And we're going to have a really nice time. So feel free to ask me questions and I'll see which ones I can answer. Don't forget, you can check out my link here on Insight Timer to check out my offerings if you love this sort of experience. And I'm just really happy you're here. I'm really happy that we're going to spend this time talking all about this incredibly nourishing essential oil that offers us such a great support physically and emotionally. So the idea of this time together is we tune into its essence, not just as an oil, but as an energetic and spiritual ally. So feel free to grab it if you've got it, and if you don't worry. So let me tell you a little bit more about the soul of coriander seed. It's got a really, really rich history, which is funny using that term because it is very rich in the way that it helps us to digest food. But in ancient Egypt, it was seen as the secret to happiness, to being used as an aphrodisiac in the Middle Ages. And it's always been more than just a spice, although as a spice, it's already phenomenally rich and nourishing and supportive. So it helps us not just digest food, but emotions and energies. And it's got this gentle, spicy, woody, sweet fragrance, which is its gift to us. And it helps us return to our center, especially during times of transition. So last week when I was on, a lot of people were going through transition, myself included. Some were moving away from the work they'd done. Some were burnt out. some were moving, and I am experiencing that where I'm moving again. And this is something that I have been doing since June last year, and a lot, like very frequently. I think I'm on my 9th move, and it's taught me so much. Not only how to really hone down on tending to my nervous system, which is part of my area of expertise, you know, really walking the talk, really listening to what and fine-tuning what it is that I really need in the moment, being discerning about what I engage with, what I leave behind, not only with the move, which encourages, obviously, am I going to keep this with me, or can it go to a better home? Do I really need this? What is essential? And that's one of the gifts that this moving has given me. And coriander seed, on the point that I'm going to show you, is one of the ways that I have been assisting myself to nourish from within, to remember to come back to my center, because transitions are rocky, as we know. So let me check the chat just while I'm speaking away here. I want to make sure that I don't miss anything. So, hey, Elena. Chandra, you need some help with autistic overwhelm. Chandra, I'm trying to work with people. Have you asked yourself, Chandra, what it is that you need? Hand on heart, hand on belly, sitting in stillness. See what this practice does for you. I'll be really curious to hear. So, has anybody got coriander here? Have you got the oil? So what I tend to do when I'm working this way is I have these little bottles. I think this might be a 2 or 3 ml bottle. Now, coriander seed, you want to dilute it to about a 25%, which means, so all I've done today is I've put that much coriander oil in the bottom, coriander essential oil, and then I've topped the rest up with my jojoba oil, which I keep in one of these dispensers. You can use sweet almond as long as you don't have a nut allergy. You can use any sort of carrier oil, and you can Google that to find out some other ideas. Marie Paul, you have it. Amazing, amazing. Oh, wonderful. Mavorin, I really know that I have not said your name correctly, but from my heart, thank you for being here, and please feel free to spell it out for me phonetically so that I can say it properly if you wish. But I'm so happy you've joined us. Great. So 25%, you want it properly diluted when we're working aroma point therapy style. And this is what I'm going to show you today. Now, the point that we're going to use is actually your belly button, that point of nourishment. Now, for many, many, many years, I was not able to go anywhere near my belly button. It used to make me feel quite nauseous. So you might experience that too. So I'm going to give you a couple of options on how to do this with me. You don't need the oil, but if you do have it, please make sure that it's properly diluted. So another way to do this is 1 drop of oil in your hand and 3 drops of whatever carrier oil. That's one other way to do it. Very simple, very easy. And you would take that, mix it together in your palm, and you would hold that simply over your belly button, lightly, just very lightly. You want the aroma, you want the essential oil to connect in with this point. This is the belly button point, and it's this point of nourishment. So we're connecting the fragrance, the dynamic of the fragrance. Each oil has a particular dynamic of its fragrance, which I go into more in my other courses. And then each point, acupoint, has its particular energetic effect. I'm trying to think of the right word. And when you mix these together, what we're looking to do is we're looking to bring them together. We're not using acupressure here. We're not putting lots of touch on it, you know, firm touch. We're just doing light touch. So that's one. You can hold your palm over the belly button, and that really helps if you're sensitive to having your belly button touch. The other way is you put 1 drop on one of your fingers, just 1 drop of the diluted oil, and you would just simply hold it just lightly over your belly button. And we're going to do that together. Jacqueline, welcome, welcome. So get ready. If you don't have it, do this with us anyway. And we're going to call in the spirit of coriander, this divinely rich oil that nourishes and enriches our experience. So choose the way you're going to do it, whether you're going to put it in the palm of your hand or whether you're going to put it on a finger. I've chosen to put it on a finger. And then you're going to hold light touch over the belly button, and we're going to do it together. And I'm going to go quiet for a little period of time. And I want you to let the oil and the point do the work, so to say. I want you to sit back, relax, and notice what happens. Be curious, be open, see what happens within your energetic field, and notice a shift. See when you notice a shift, okay? And that shift might be that you feel an unwinding happen. It might be that you feel a warmth in the body. It might be that you sigh. It might be that you yawn. There's many, many different ways, but any sort of shift, subtle or not so subtle, that is when the connection has happened and the shift and the energetic recalibration has begun. Okay, so we're going to do this together now. I'll be quiet. So closing your eyes if you feel safe to. Otherwise, you can just look down at the floor and keep your eyes on one point. We call in the spirit of coriander seed as we hold this point and this oil together for the next period of time. So no rush, but when you have noticed a shift, or even if you haven't, in the next few moments of time, bring your hands together and rub them, and then take a smell. So I wonder how that was for you. Let me know, let us know. How I experienced it that time was this, like a gentle, it wasn't really a gurgling, but this gentle movement behind the belly button. And then in the upper part of my body, I experienced it in a lot of energy was shifting and moving. A lot of energy was trying to align and settle. And then I felt a sigh. Then I felt this moment of release. Now, how I've experienced this another time is that I get this warmth that goes up from my belly button up through the center of my body. So let me know if you experienced anything. Let me know what you experienced, or if you experienced nothing. That is also, it still has an effect. And sometimes, as we're building up our sensitivity to working with the plants in this way, working with the acupoints, and navigating the mind that wants to know everything, we're so conditioned to be intellectual and understand from a mental perspective, which is really beneficial. And I'm so grateful personally that it can take a little bit of time to hand over to the energetic shifts and interplay that happens when we join an acupoint and an essential oil together in this way. So I wanted to tell you a little bit more about our beautiful coriander seed. I'm just going to get my notes, bear with. So at the emotional level, this oil, coriander seed, helps us to heal deep-seated imprints of scarcity and lack. If you think about when someone is, if you are in an interplay of feeling in fear and lack and not enoughness, which is really understandable because that is the messaging that really gets filtered through our world. We are not enough, there is not enough, etc., etc. Then you might have these moments where the fear, lack, scarcity, undernourishment comes up. And so working in this way with coriander seed is a way to bring back that nourishment. And it works not just in those moments where we're feeling the fear, lack, scarcity, not enoughness, but in those moments where we feel stuck in our creative process or our personal growth. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but if you're on this healing path, or you're on this journey, whatever you want to call it, there can be times where we get stuck in the density of the problem. That's not to say that's bad or wrong, but it can be very compelling to stay there. I've certainly experienced it, where I have, and I say this with real sweetness to myself, but I've over-identified with the problem and been stuck in it like a swamp almost, that I couldn't see my way out. And that can happen on this journey. So coriander seed in this way, working with it, can help us to come back into the flow, come back into the nourishment, back into the creative process, and back into the other perspectives that are always available to us. So it brings us back to this state of divine abundance, reminding us that we can nourish ourselves, and we always have the choice to do that. And to receive and create freely without this fear of lack. So if you're struggling with trust or self-worth, this oil on that point can really help you realign and receive what is meant for you. You know, this rich, this nourishing, sweet, fragrant spice helps not only digest the food that we eat, but it helps us to digest things that perhaps we're holding on to that we no longer need, like the stories of lack, of undernourishment, of not being enough. And it helps you to create a more abundant, balanced, and aligned life as you digest and integrate these lessons of life. I was listening to somebody yesterday speak about, you know, the wisdom isn't mine, the wisdom isn't yours, but the lessons are mine and the lessons are yours. So we have these great wisdom teachers and traditions, and I include the plant spirits in that, the intelligence of plants that they've been out and around for so long. They bring wisdom, and then we get the lessons that we are here to integrate and understand. And so integration is a part of this. And this is why I love coriander seed for that. It helps to integrate. You know, sometimes we've gone on these journeys of feeling the fear and the lack. And what coriander seed does for me is it helps me to then integrate the lessons that I've learned through that and understand what the real truth is in the moment. And because you're here listening to me live, I'm going to assume you've got a phone. Therefore, you know, this is a reminder that we live in a very abundant universe. There are enough resources of everything for everyone on this planet. Punto. And it's not fairly distributed. So, but this isn't why I'm here to talk about that. But I just want to remind you that when we choose that perspective of being able to see what is here for us, we can change our lens and open up perspective into more, into abundance, into creativity, into our enoughness. So that's all I wanted to really say on coriander today. I feel like that's a nice way to round off. I'm going to look at your comments and see how everybody's doing, if there's any engagement. All right. So tell me, what landed most for you out of what I was just sharing? Did something jump out for you? Did something resonate with you that you thought, oh, yes, I needed to hear that today? Let me know in the comments. The self-worth. Yeah. I've been to quite a lot of, you know, over the last 30 years, I've been to quite a lot of, I suppose, how would we say it? Different workshops and masterclasses that have gone into, you know, core wounding and understanding what is part of our journey here. And what I used to be always surprised at is the self-worth. I was in my 20s when I remember sort of first thinking, wow, we are these miracles to have arrived here, yet we don't understand or cannot always see the miracle of our being. And the self-critic talk can be very loud, can't it? Brings us back to ourselves and the idea we can always nourish ourselves. Simple, I know, yet amazing reminder. Yes, I mean, I think the most wisdom, no, how am I going to say this? Basically, wisdom can be very simple, not easy to remember, which is why, you know, we forget as humans, don't we? But these simple reminders, when they're just heard in a certain way, they just activate it again for us. Oh, yes. Marie Paul, I felt my overactive colon relax deeply, felt very good, wonderful. Oh, take that with you and gift yourself that. You know, I recommend trying this practice for the next 5 days, once or twice a day, and keeping it as a little tool that you can use. Chandra, I'm a childhood survivor and self-worth is a huge thing. Absolutely, absolutely. So nourishment, self-love, joy, support when you need it. So yeah, I love working with the oils in this way, aroma point therapy. Do feel free to check out my link. There's other ways you can work with me. And then I'll be back again tomorrow live. I think I'm 1 p.m. Yes, I'm 1 p.m. UK for Roman chamomile. Great for the inner child, Chandra. You'll love that. And then 1:30 for the soul messages. So I hope to see you there. And yeah, receive this gift of coriander seed with the deep nourishment that it has been sent over with, and allow it to blossom and bloom in your life. All right. Thank you for joining me today. Bye for now.